Hey guys, JacksDXC here, and today I'm going to be talking about the fragrances that I wore for the week of 9/14. So, appropriate for the much cooler weather that's been sweeping through town. For this week, I decided to go for cologne fragrances that are best suited for the cooler weather. All of these are incredibly affordable. I really like that these brands are putting out options that are much more affordable in comparison to the crazy prices of some of the designer fragrances and niche fragrances. I definitely think there's a market for them. I understand the argument against it. Keep taking people's fragrances that they've worked years and years upon. I don't really approve of that, but I think that while everything is so expensive right now, clones are definitely a great option, and these ones are very, very solid. With that being said, let's get into the video.
So on Sunday, I wore Detour Noir from the House of Alharme. So this was probably one of the first fragrances that kicked off the cologne fragrance market in a serious way. Oh, this smells really, really great. I kind of think of this fragrance as a warm spiced apple cider. It's got that apple up top. It has this nice indulgent spiciness with tonka providing a little bit of sweetness, patchouli and cinnamon providing a really nice sweet scent profile. And yeah, I mean, this stuff lasts a long time. It's dirt cheap right now, I think around 20 bucks or so. Even on its own, never mind the closeness to Layton, this stuff is really great. Very long lasting, very indulgent, very spicy, very fruity. I really like this stuff. And while a lot of people riff on the bottle, for being a kind of weird, awkward curve shape, not really easy to hold, text here on the bottle often gets rubbed off from what I've heard. But for me personally, I think it's pretty unique. It's nice to see a type of bottle that's not just a basic rectangle with some text on it. I like those bottles. They look classy. They're nice and uniform on the shelf, but this one is very unique. You won't see many bottles that look like this, aside from the other fragrances in the Detour Noir line. But yeah, I mean, I still think that despite all the hype that it's had, I think that it's wholly deserved. It's not the highest quality Layton cologne out there. I still think that it holds a throne as being one of the fragrances that really kicked off the cologne craze. That being said, on Sunday, I wore Detour Noir from the House of Alharme. On Monday, I wore Starman Nebula from the House of Fragrance World. This is another one that helped kick off the cologne craze. This is a clone of a pure malt from the House of Terry Mugler. It's long been discontinued and is very expensive nowadays. And while this one isn't as close to the original as some of the other ones in this list, I still think that as a standalone fragrance, it's really great. It's really inviting, it's warm, it's got this dusty fruitiness up top that really sets it apart from the other sweet fragrances out there. This scent profile is very unique. It's dusty, it's powdery, it's got malt and coffee that lends this really nice, tasty, gourmand edge to it. It's not quite like malted milk bells, but it's kind of leaning that direction. I mean, this stuff, nuclear. Lasts a really long time, really good, especially for the price. I think I've seen this going for around 18 bucks or so. I've also seen it going for around 50, and probably should have mentioned this at the beginning, but if you see a cologne fragrance, especially one of these, that you see going for $40, $50, don't pay that much. People are just trying to rip you off. Now, cologne fragrances, especially those in this list, $30 at max. I think one of them is going for around that price. Yeah, I mean, cologne fragrances, they're meant to be much cheaper alternatives. While the original Amen has a little bit more spiciness to it, this one tends to lean more in the sweet gourmand side of the fragrance. But still, I think that as a standalone fragrance, this is really great. Really dig this stuff. For a while, I think I was wearing this every day. And once you get your nose on it, it'll be easy to tell why. That being said, on Monday, I wore Starman Nebula from the House of Fragrance World. On Tuesday, I wore Niall Queen from the House of Arabia Prestige. So this is a clone of YSL's Baby Cat, and this is very, very close It's got that warm, indulgent vanilla with a little bit of spiciness from black pepper, and then this animalic leather underneath. It's really rounded out from that vanilla, from the sweetness, and it's not too harsh, it's not too overbearing. Like Baby Cat is probably one of the most balanced sweet fragrances out there. It's not too sticky, it's not too syrupy. It is very strong, it's very powerful. It can definitely cause a headache if you spray too much. I still think that because of that spiciness, because of that animalicness, it's a little bit more versatile than really deep, overwhelming vanilla. If you love vanilla, of course, this does have it in there as well as the original. And again, for the price point, this is insanely close. There's a lot more popular dupes out there that do smell phenomenal, but I think that for the price point that this is going for, this is probably one of the best buys. Baby Cat is definitely under the radar for the average consumer out there, so it's definitely going to set you apart. But I still think that many people can wear this, and a lot of people can get a lot of use out of it, especially as we're going into the cooler weather. That being said, on Tuesday, I wore Nile Queen from Arabia Prestige. So on Wednesday, I wore Red Tobacco and Vanilla from House of Monarch Perfumes. So this is, of course, a rack store pickup. I got it from Marshall's for around 15 bucks. And this is, of course, a clone of Red Tobacco from Mancera. If you can't tell from the bottle, deep red, the text, very similar. The gold border with the black background, very obvious dupe. And honestly, for the price that you can find this for in the rack stores, this is insanely close. No, it's got that aggressive spiciness up top that, while it can be a little bit harsh, the same can also be said for the original. No, it's known for having a very aggressive opening, very powerful, very pungent, but this one kind of emulates that. It does smell quite a bit cheaper than the original, but for the average nose, it's going to be super different, super unique, and no one will be able to tell that it was like a $15 fragrance that you bought from Marshall's. The dry down, where this and the original shine, that indulgent, warm tobacco that is just intoxicating in the air. It's powerful, it's seductive, and it smells great in the air. It's vanilla, tobacco, tonka bean, very warm, very indulgent, very sweet, and especially for the price point that this is going for, I really don't think you can go wrong. Milestone has been just knocking it out of the park with the cheap dupes at Marshall's, and if you're just looking to smell good on a very low budget, definitely give the fragrances at Marshall's a shot. Don't have to buy them immediately. I definitely think for the price point that they're going for, they're definitely worth smelling. That being said, on Wednesday, I wore Red Tobacco Vanilla from Milestone Perfumes. On Thursday, I wore Insurrection 2 Wild from the House of Rand Tradition. So I made a short about this. I'll link it in the description. This is a clone Pure Havana from Terry Mugler, which was very popular, very well received, but unfortunately discontinued along with many of the other Amen flankers. Unfortunately, I haven't smelled the original, but this is such a good fragrance. It's got this cherry fruity sweetness up top that's balanced out by this warm, indulgent, creamy vanilla sweetness. It combines both the fruity aspect and the rich, indulgent, sweet aspect to make a fragrance that is very long-lasting, very powerful, and smells great in the air. For the price point, I think you can get this for around 18 bucks. It's just insane. It's very strong, you get good value out of it, lasts a long time, and it's just so good. As I'm walking around when I'm wearing this stuff, I keep getting whiffs of it. It's my nose in the best way possible. That sort of warm, indulgent sweetness, being a little bit unique, not just a vanilla tonka bean bomb, having a bit of herbalness, plus that fruitiness from the tobacco. This is a knockout fragrance for a very low budget. I really dig this stuff. I think you should at least try it. It was probably one of the first fragrances that I've ever bought, and to this day, definitely one of the favorite fragrances in my collection for the cooler weather. That being said, on Thursday, I wore Insurrection 2 Wild from the House of Rand Tradition. So, on Friday, I wore Sharaf Blend from the House of Zamaya. This is another fragrance that, for me, is probably one of the top clone fragrances, if not one of the general fragrances in my collection. This is, of course, a clone of Angel Share from Kilian. And, oh boy, I love Angel Share. That stuff is way too expensive to be spraying on willy-nilly. This stuff gets really close. You know, it's got a note of dates, which lends it this sticky syrupiness that combines great with the spicy cinnamon sweet notes in here. You can definitely smell the booze in here too. It's got this alcoholic tinge to it, not alcohol like cheap rubbing alcohol, but instead a warm, rich booze. If you've ever smelled booze or been around booze, you know what I mean. It's very, very potent, very powerful. It almost stings the nostrils, as they say. That balanced out with all the sweet notes in here, with those sticky dates, with the spicy cinnamon, this stuff is really great, especially for the price point. That's the problem with collecting fragrances like I do. You know, you have too many fragrances to wear. I'm very blessed to have that kind of situation, but it's really hard to pick sometimes. This is definitely a very great fragrance, especially for the price point. You really can't go wrong with this stuff. You know, it's a compliment beast. It's very strong, very powerful, lasts a long time. The bottle, as you can see, this bottom part here, it's all thick glass, and this is just really, really beautiful. I had a friend who saw this bottle, and honestly, she didn't know that it was a dupe, a cheap $30 dupe that you can buy online. Plus, it comes with a great presentation. Just the presentation alone on this, very classy. It'll set you apart for sure. This is probably one of the better fragrances in my collection, and to think that you can buy it for under 50 bucks, under 40 bucks, highly recommend this stuff. There are a lot of Angel Share dupes out there right now, but I still think that, you know, for the price point, you really can't go wrong with this stuff. On Friday, I wore Schroff Blend from the House of Zamaya. And lastly, on Saturday, I wore Eternal Oud from the House of Lattafa. So this is a clone of Grand Soir from the House of Mason Francis Kirkjohn, and I haven't smelled that stuff, but I still really like this stuff. So this fragrance is very ambery, very warm, got this fruitiness up top from grapefruit and plum, which it makes it very unique and doesn't smell like a lot of things out there. Now, as it dries down, it does get much warmer, it does get more rounder, but there also still is a little of juicy sweetness to it that prevents it from sitting too heavy. I haven't smelled the original, so I can't tell you how close they are, but as a standalone fragrance, this is very unique. The bottle is cool, the presentation is really unique as well. It's like a glass dome, like almost like a bubble. And yeah, I just think that for the price point, there are probably some better dupes out there for Grand Soir, but again, I can't really tell you how close this is because I haven't smelled the original. That being said, I still think that this is a great choice. That being said, on Saturday, I wore Eternal Oud from the House of Lattafa. So guys, that was it for my weekly rotation of 914. I hope you enjoyed, and let me know in the comments below as to both what you wore and as well as your thoughts on clones. Now, I personally think that there's a really big market for them right now, and I think it's great. The average person can buy some great smelling fragrances that last a long time and for a really good price. Before Detour Noir, a lot of the clones were fairly bad, fairly cheap smelling. I think that the quality in these clone fragrances is either matching or honestly even surpassing some of the fragrances and designers at least. Now, in niche, you can definitely tell that they're much higher quality ingredients for the most part, so you can definitely tell the difference between a cheap clone and luxury fragrance. Of course, the price difference is phenomenal. I'll go back to Detour Noir versus PDM Layton. I'm pretty sure that the original Layton is about 10 times the cost of Detour Noir, and honestly, that's kind of ridiculous. I understand the art, the creative process that goes through it, hiring a perfumer, getting high quality ingredients, but I still think that's way too much money. But that's my thought on the topic. I won't bore you too much, but again, let me know what you guys think. With that being said, hope you like the video and you'll consider subscribing. I post one of these once a week, and I'm trying to get into filming some more videos. But that being said, my name is Jack CXC, and I hope you have a good day.